Hey, this is Jen, Teacher Community Manager for AdoptAClassroom.org, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our 2024 YouTube Teacher Fundraising Chat. To kick off the upcoming school year, we are here with some of our top fundraising teachers to ask them exactly how they did it. We're also talking to donors and other supporters to answer your questions and help you get the supplies your students need. You shouldn't have to spend your own money on the things your students need to learn and thrive. And that's why AdoptAClassroom.org is here. My job is to make fundraising as easy as possible and maybe even a little bit fun. So you can do what you do best and get back to teaching. I'm also live in the chat along with my teammates. So if you have any fundraising questions for us, let us know and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Be sure to stay until the very end to learn how to enter our $2,000 classroom donation giveaway. First, as promised, we're going to start with some tips from teachers who have been smashing their fundraising goals. For Caitlin, a teacher in Florida who is making the jump from kindergarten last year to third grade this year, her biggest supporter has always been her mom, Lisa. Lisa helped her raise over $1,000 by taking charge and sending out the link to Caitlin's page. I invited both of them to talk with us today about how supporters can make all the difference.
I'll just make a classroom, and if some random business decides to donate to me, that's awesome. That's money I wasn't expecting. Cool. And then comes Teacher Appreciation Week when you guys had the match for donations. I start getting email after email after email while I'm in class. It's coming on my smartwatch about you have a donation to your classroom. You have a donation to your classroom. So I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm in a room with 28, 5, and 6-year-olds. I can't stop and check. I'm like, what is going on? So I get to lunchtime and I call her. It's like, you would never believe it. I've gotten like 6 donations since 8 a.m. And she goes, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So I sent the link to your classroom page to your mother-in-law, and we both sent it out to the entire family. So you're probably going to get more.
She called me one evening specifically to tell me about this. Her initial thought, if you donate $100, they're going to match your donation. And I said, great. So you'll have, a little bit of money to, because she had already started purchasing stuff out of her own pocket. It was there, and she saw that need, and I witnessed that need for her. So it was like, this is going to help her out financially to not just become a successful in her current situation, but it's going to go forward. I knew within our family, we have teachers. My best friend is a teacher that just retired this year with 42 years of working in the school system. And I just knew that they would want to support her. It was real easy to save the site and text it to people. I know a lot of our family, we survived through text messaging each other. Everybody is on time constraints. So it was just easy to open your text message and see what the need was. And Adopt a Classroom makes it very, very easy to go in there and hit donate. My kids laugh at me because when I can't get my phone or my computer to work, who am I calling? My kids to help me do this. But it wasn't like that this time. This Adopt a Classroom is super easy to respond to and to work with. And yeah, the rest is history. It was just amazing. And every time she got a donation, you just see the excitement in her. And it was worth every brief second that it took me to hit that button to send it to people. But I have in my calendar now August 19th. And there will be another message going out because, beginning of the school year, you need more supplies for the classroom. Why not? This is the perfect gift to give her to help her out. And it's so easy. She's making a difference in these kids' testing scores. So she has to be able to have the tools to do that. And this is assisting her to have those tools. So will I be sharing it? Absolutely. Will I ask our family to share it also? Probably, because I'm that kind of person.
You're not doing this for you. You're doing this for your kids. So, as nerve-wracking as it is sometimes to ask for that help, most people know that as teachers, we supply 95% of our classroom, I would say. And I mean, I am grateful to work for a school that's really supportive, but schools only have so much of a budget. So if it's something that you're nervous about or something that you just feel like maybe I'm not going to get a good response for this, as much as you would fight for your kids in the classroom, don't be afraid to fight for them like this either.
The list that the kids get when they're coming back to school, a lot of families can't fill those lists. So it falls on the teacher or the volunteers that come and work at the school to bring those items in for those kids. And this is a wonderful program. Don't ever be scared to go out and ask for help when you need it.
Caitlin and her mom obviously have a very close bond, but not every teacher has that. However, there might be an enthusiastic supporter among your students' guardians and family members who can reach a new group of connections. And as mentioned before, supporters do not have to also be donors themselves. So this can be a way for grandparents or others on a limited income to help by spending time instead of money. Joe teaches a variety of STEM subjects and skills to 4th through 8th graders in a small town in Connecticut. I really wanted to talk to Joe for this chat because he received 6 donations for local businesses totaling $1,000 during Teacher Appreciation Week. Getting local businesses involved is one of the things that teachers ask me about all the time. So let's find out how he did it.
I made mine focused just on businesses. So I like when I shared it with my friends on Facebook, I told them, I was like, listen, I'm so appreciative of all the help that you guys have given me in the past. I do not want, and I said, like, I do not want you, I'm not expecting you to donate to this cause at all. I was like, however, there's a lot of companies, I know a lot of companies have like to, make donations to schools, especially. So if I'm asking you to pass it along to your bosses, executives, whatever, and see if they're interested, great. But thank you so much for passing it on. I pretty much scripted an email, and said, hi, my name is Mr. Vidala. I teach this. I'm trying to get some of these, funding is really low right now, with, the budget's getting cut left and right. I was like, I really would like to give my kids the opportunity to work with these Lego robotics kits and start a robotics club. So I was like, check out my Adopt a Classroom page. And if you're interested, any help would be greatly appreciated. And it's not like there's a set donation, so they could just donate whatever they wanted. And then I started going, so I scripted this email, put the link at the bottom. And then I started just going on Google Maps, and I started looking at, first I started with engineering, because I thought, oh, engineering firms or little companies, they'd want to donate to an engineering program. So I started with them and just clicked on like every business throughout like the state of Connecticut. And, just started clicking on them, looking for an email. If there was an email address, I would copy it, put it in the email, send them an email. Then after that, I started just looking at Google computers on Google Maps. Look for all those. Anything I could possibly get that had to do with anything with technology, I sent it to them. So then I was like, let me just like look out to like the local coffee shop. Like there's one coffee shop, there's one pizza shop. So yeah, I just started reaching out to all of them. I even started thinking about like, when I bought a house a couple years ago, and I reached out to the realtor that I used, would you like to donate? I reached out to the broker that we used. So I was just trying to get the information out to as many people as possible. try to connect with them and make any connection you can possibly make with them. You know, if they feel more personally connected to your cause, they're more willing to donate. There was this one guy who he was just he was worked for a little 3D printing company out of his house, and 3D printing was, you know, it's the same kind of field as, you know, the technology with the robotics, and it goes hand in hand. So he right away he said, I would like to buy you one kit. But yeah, so he gave me a $350 donation like that day. So like I said, because he felt connected to the cause.
I know that you thanked your donors through the teacher dashboard pop-up, but did you do anything else to encourage and appreciate donors?
Always share it again on Facebook too. You know, I would say, oh, check it out. You know, we got another $200. Woo, you know, thank you so much for sharing. And I don't even know if they shared it, you know, but just to kind of get it out there again and keep it in their, you know, in their faces, you know, on Facebook and social media. Be personal with them, with your requests. They don't just want to give money to anyone. They want to feel like they're making a difference. That human connection is, I think, probably the most important thing. You know, like I think people read my story and thought about this little girl becoming an engineer that didn't know she could ever become an engineer. You know, so that's where, yeah, and also just reach out to anyone. Like the more the merrier.
Brooke is a seventh grade English and language arts teacher in Brooklyn, New York. During Teacher Appreciation Week, she raised $1,780 from over 20 different donors. Brooke uses humor and being her authentic self to create a connection with people through social media. Here's how she got people invested in her student success throughout the year.
Start actively posting about things that you do in your classroom every day, like showcase that this is my job. I'm really excited about it. I love the kids. I was really showcasing like the funny stuff kids would do, like their work that was like funny, or like the work that was really impactful. I thought like I would be posting that stuff on Instagram. And people that I'm not even friends with would be messaging me about my stuff and how like they love to see my like the stuff I post, kind of entertaining people with like the crazy, funny, amazing things that kids say. I guess over time I developed like a small fan base of people.
Do you have any recommendations on which social media platforms to use?
Whichever one you have like the most like following or friends on. I think LinkedIn is like great because teachers can use it, even though people think it's just for like a business standpoint. Request a bunch of people to like want to follow you and stuff. And there's like people in there who are business owners that want to donate as well, to a good cause. People love to see like the weird drawings my students do and like the weird like stories they write, or like the really happy or sweet things kids write. Occasionally I will post like a more of like a carousel like Instagram post, depending on what it is. But more for like everyday stuff I'll post on my like stories. And even when I did my adopt a classroom, I was posting stories and I put like the link in there, so people are using that. I also put it in my bio on my Instagram account. I think there's so much going on in the world right now that people like want to see stuff that makes them feel like hopeful and good, and people want to like do something that'll make them feel good. But I say to everyone who donates to me, like even if you're donating like $20, like you're making a huge impact on a child's life. Then you'd be surprised, like once you post about it, after posting all year and showing people like your life and your job and everything, the outcome, I guess it's like you never know unless you try.
What advice would you give to another teacher who said, I posted on social media and nobody donated?
I think the best way to earn that money is to over time like show people what you're doing, introduce parts of your life with teaching, like show people you're passionate, so when you do ask for donations, they'll be like, oh, like this person, she's always doing this with these kids, like I want to like contribute to that. So, and also like saying what I think, also saying like what you want to do with the money is really important too. you got to look at the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Worst is nobody wants to donate and you still have a job and you move on with your life. And best is people donate and you can buy some cool stuff for your kids.
If you read any of our newsletters or blog posts, you know that we are always saying, update your page. But what does that really mean? And how can it help you with your fundraising? I'm going to show you how I worked with Cheyenne, a kindergarten teacher from my home state of Oregon, to give her page a little glow up. Even the best pages can use a refresh at the start of the school year, around the holidays, after spring break, or any other time that seems right. Okay, so Cheyenne, I am looking at your dashboard, and this should be pretty much exactly what it looks like when you log in. But we're going to focus today on both edit profile page and view profile page for this classroom page makeover. So here is your classroom page, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through it so everyone can take a quick look. We've got a goal. We've got our description here. And then we can see when you received donations in the past. So a couple of the first things we're going to look at when we go into edit is, number one, we're going to talk about a banner image, which is what we call this larger one. And then we're also going to look at your profile picture, because again, donors really tend to want to connect when they're making a donation. And then looking at your description, just briefly, one of the things that stands out is that it kind of reads as a wall of text. Donors today, like the rest of us, are busy and tend to have a short attention span. So getting the information to them quickly and in a really readable fashion is important to kind of help them want to click this donate button or even share it to share with their network. And I'm going to click back over to the dashboard where we can edit profile page. We are going to talk about editing your description a little bit. And you did a great job of talking a lot about your students and the needs. But one of the things that we're going to start with is looking at how we can break up this text a little bit more. One thing that's pretty easy is just even putting a hard return after those two sections. Always click that save anytime you make changes. So here you can see I added that return and I saved it, and you can see already it's kind of breaking it up. The next thing we're going to look at is, again, we talked about short attention spans of donors, and getting to the point right away is really important. So the main change that I made is moving up the ask and the need towards the top. We really want to just get to the point of what we want from the donors, right, as soon as possible. So let's take a look at this. So I'm starting it with, hi, I'm Miss Hendricks. As a kindergarten teacher, I believe that my role is to love my students first and teach them second. In order to provide them with the best opportunities to learn and grow, my students need supplies and materials. Your donation towards my, and we just edited that, $300 goal by the first day of school on August 26th will allow me to purchase books, math manipulatives, and science kits that will create important foundations in learning throughout the year. Towards the top, we got right to the point of, I'm a teacher, I'm a great teacher, my students need things, here's how you can help. So let's take a look at how this has updated the look of your page so far. So already we kind of see this broken into slightly more readable chunks. So again, this is what I'm talking about. When you're making it, save it, look at how it looks live, and then make changes as you go. And this is how to make a really good classroom page. If you can think of kind of a particular situation, or if you just imagine a student that you've had that's, you know, having a book to hold in their hand, having a math manipulative, that it really kind of gave them an aha moment or something, anything that stands out. Does anything stand out at all?
One student in particular, he was diagnosed with a lot of sensory processing disorders, and it really affected his ability to function in the classroom under normal setting. But with different math manipulatives, actually math manipulatives specifically, that we've been able to have, he is able to engage in the math lesson, not to the same degree that the other students are doing. He's not using the same tools, but he's getting the concept down in his own way using the different tools that he had. So trying to think of how to smooth that out.
Okay, and I know I said to write this in word processing and then come back and save, but we're just going to do this here. So, and you can always, and it's probably recommended to use a, anonymous name when you're
Right.
talking about students on your page, of course. So, but we can say, one student in particular, Sean,
Perfect.
personified this when he was, so what would be, I don't know if you remember like a specific type of manipulative that he was really like, oh wow, adding makes sense.
Yeah, so he was able
Or
to successfully engage in the math lesson by using Unifix cubes. And that seemed to be the only tool that would get him to not only stay during the lesson, but participate in it.
feel free to edit and go back and make it make a little bit more sense. But this is just an example of how you can bring in a story about a student and how it doesn't need to be, a big dramatic epic story that you tell for the rest of your teaching career to spark that little something with a regular person who's reading this. So maybe someone who's looking at this, they know that they have sensory processing differences and they struggled in math when they were in elementary school, and they can think, wow, if I'd had a way to make this concept come alive with my hands, it might have been made more sense, and my experience with math my whole life might have been different. And so those are some of the ways that just kind of bringing in a little bit of a story can make a big impact for your page.
I don't know how many teachers are in the same place that I am, but I made it because I had received a donation and then I just let it sit for so long. So I wasn't utilizing it. So this kind of reignited something like, hey, this is here. And this is a platform that I could really utilize to get funds for my classroom and for my students. It was a really great encouragement, and like I said, reignited that flame in me. Like, oh yeah, I really need to get going on this. So I'm feeling a new level of motivation.
Diana is a PE teacher in California who I've loved working with over the years. Let's take a look at some small changes that could lead to even more resources for your students. Did you know that if you haven't logged in for more than 6 months, your page, instead of having a donate button right here, has a button that says notify? So this is one of the reasons why it's really important to log in. We recommend once every month, but again, at least every 3 to 6 months, so that this button says donate instead of notify. This photo is really great because it has all the kids participating. It looks like they're doing those jumping jacks out on the basketball courts, but the image itself is a little bit dark. And so it could just, maybe it's time to refresh it. So get another one this school year on a nice sunny day, and then you can just click upload and re-upload that image. Another option that some teachers can do is to just create an image on the, like using a graphic design program. I made this one for you. We can always put it back to the old one, but this is just sort of another option that you could use on your classroom page that might be even more eye-catching to a donor and that would kind of demonstrate really visually what it is that you need.
Yeah,
Hooray.
I think it's great. I totally see what you see now.
The next thing you want to decide is whether or not to make your page public. So right now, your page is private, and that means that only you, adoptaclassroom.org staff, and anyone that you sent the link to would be able to see your page and donate. The next place I would like to talk about is your fundraising goal. So you have a fundraising goal of $888, but because you're amazing, you have already received donations in the amount of $1,458. So when someone looks at your page, it would look like you've already received more than you need. So what I want to do is to increase that amount.
Go 5,000. I'll tell you why later.
You're like, make it big. Okay. So you saved your beautiful updated classroom page. And then the next thing you can do is go right here to where it says view profile page. When you click that, ooh, see? So now we have just a little bit brighter. I still think a photo of you here would be best, but I love how it's just a little bit brighter. This now, someone can just go straight through and donate directly to your page. And then we've increased this so it shows, you have some of your goal, but you still need more to get there, which is really important for getting donors involved in giving to your classroom. And from here, this link at the top of your classroom page, not where you're editing it, is the one that you can just copy and then paste into a text message, an email, into a social media account to say, hey, donate to my classroom page, help me purchase volleyballs, footballs, whatever I need, adaptive PE equipment to help all of the students at Korematsu Middle School. Do you think you would be willing to send it out to people and try and raise
hell
more
yeah.
funds?
Yeah, game on. It's totally different because now I know how to turn on the on button, basically. Because we do parent, what's it called? Parent Square? Or, yeah.
Yeah, you can put
Where
it in
it goes
there.
to, and then I could figure out how to copy paste that link into that. And then the parents will feel like I'm actually, which I'm not, but let them know what we're doing every change of unit.
Let's get some donor insights from Dustin, a software engineer who works for Instructure, the company that makes Canvas LMS. Last year, during the AAC Week match, he and his team donated to teachers that they'd never met or even heard of before.
Yeah, we found all of the teachers through the Adopt a Classroom teacher search page. And but in the end, I think we're all looking for a story that we can connect with, that we understood, what the impact we would make is. That could be either helping a teacher meet a basic education goal, getting essential supplies for the classroom. Or in some cases, it would be, teachers with a goal to elevate the education experience for their students. The two that stand out to me in particular, one was a mathematics teacher that was looking for, some very basic supplies. I think it was protractors. And that just, resonated, not being able to supply the basic stuff to teach, and teachers shouldn't have to pay for that themselves. So something that quite a few of us were really interested in was a teacher who was actually a librarian that was creating a makerspace as part of the library. And they wanted things like 3D printers and tools and stuff like that. And we're really excited to donate to that as well. I think the most important thing is to just tell your story. Tell a story about your classroom, what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish. The one thing very few donors are going to do is just randomly select a page. And for most of us, all we know about the teacher, about the classroom, is what's on that page. So we found ours through the search page and just reading pages, and we went through so many that just didn't really tell us anything about it. They had a fundraising goal, maybe a few words, but we just didn't really connect with the story of what that teacher is trying to accomplish. And so by telling that story, you make sure that the person that is looking to make the impact that your classroom needs is able to find it.
Lauren, an elementary art teacher in Houston, is also a professional artist and entrepreneur. Her summer is packed with mural installations and art shows, but she made time to chat with us about fundraising.
If you're a writer, write about it. If you're a talker, talk about it. You know your skill set. Get you one of those AIs, Chat GPT, or what's my AI of the moment is Copilot. Put in your prompt, generate a letter to corporations, businesses to help fund this project that I have on Adopt a Classroom. These are my needs. These are my wants. This is why they should help. Give them all these prompts, and that AI will give you the most beautifully written letter ever. And send that bad boy out. Make sure you tell everybody you know. Don't be ashamed, because this has nothing to do with you. Don't be afraid to have those social medias to advocate for your classroom. And as a matter of fact, don't be afraid to have those social media pages to advocate for you as a teacher, because not only are you showing what you do or what goes on in your classroom, but you're also showing what you do in the classroom, which also helps for finding other schools. I constantly have people coming up to me saying, "Oh, I follow you on Instagram." When I first started doing that, it was weird, and I think that that's something that people really need to keep in mind. Make sure that your posts are something that you don't care if somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I saw your post." You know? And even on my teacher page, I try to make sure that I keep the kids as anonymous as possible, because I don't want any type of, issues with that. But then too, I also want you to see what's going on in my classroom. Like, there was a post I did with my pre-Kers. They were doing handprints and model magic. And I just kind of set the camera up and just let it record. And so you can see me as I'm pressing down on the kids' hands, and then I go like this, and so they can pop their hands up, but we find out it still got stuck to it. So I kind of had to peel it off. But anyway, but then later on in the video that's not shown is that the kids knew I was recording, and you can see them like kind of poke around and they're trying to look. And so, that of course didn't make it onto the Instagram. So it's about just being cognizant of what it is that you're posting, because it's going to come back to you. And you don't have to be afraid of the social medias. You just have to be smart about what it is that you post. It's all about, what emotion that you want to appeal to that's going to make people feel strongly about giving to your cause. The video that I posted asking for money was demonstrations of all the things that are going on in my classroom. And I loved the video part I had of the kindergartners that were pointing at my wall. So it's not a sad thing. It's, yes, look how empowered these kids are now. So that would be an encouraging emotion that would make you say, hey, this is a teacher that's really doing something in their classroom. Let me help. I've done fundraising before for my multitude of businesses. I think this is the first time I've actually done any type of crowdfunding from my classroom. But I tell you what, after stepping out and then back in and working at the college level, where whatever it is that I need, I receive, it's really difficult to come back into the classroom and have the demands. I forgot about all these demands. The demands that are in a regular gen ed classroom multiplied by 1,200 and not having what I need. You are an advocate for your classroom, and you have to do what's by all means necessary. unless you want to pay for it yourself. It's either you do what you need to do to get these supplies, or the kids don't have the supplies, or they come out of your pocket. So choose your lane, you know, which one of these, what's that old book from the 80s? Choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure. Which one you gonna do?
Wow, that was so much great information. Thank you so much to everyone who made this teacher fundraising chat possible. We appreciate your expertise and your real life experience. Let's end on a few reminders to help you with your fundraising. Be sure you're registered with adoptaclassroom.org and keep your classroom page current. The majority of classroom adoptions come from our corporate partners, so it's a great idea to just keep your page up to date and log in at least once a month. Check your inbox or our social media channels for funding opportunities like giveaways or donation matches several times per year. Look for those giveaways and matches in August, at the end of the year, and in May for Teacher Appreciation Week. We've got a monthly $1,000 Teacher Conversations giveaway every month in our teacher newsletter. Adoptaclassroom.org also offers grant funding through our Spotlight funds that focus on STEM, the arts, inclusive classrooms, racial equity, social emotional wellness, and more. Our fundraising guide includes in-depth and step-by-step instructions on fundraising for your classroom. We also have a checklist you can download and follow to make fundraising a little easier. Are you motivated to implement some of what you learned today by updating your page and making a plan to reach out to supporters and share your page? Good, because we are having our biggest ever $35,000 match starting August 19th for AAC week. To kick that off, we're randomly selecting 20 pre-K through 12 teachers to receive a $100 classroom donation. Now, since you stayed to the end, here's the information you need to enter our $2,000 giveaway. To be eligible for a chance to win, teachers must be registered with adoptaclassroom.org and submit the entry form. You'll need your classroom page link to enter, so log in, click View Profile Page, and then copy that link to paste in the entry form. Go to adoptaclassroom.org/fundraising chat 2024. That's where you'll find the entry form and the full giveaway rules. Your time is valuable, especially over the summer. So thank you for joining us. As always, if you have any questions at all, please reach out, info@adoptaclassroom.org.